The three main themes in Parashat Matot are seemingly unrelated to each other. Yet, I want to argue that at the same time, they are profoundly connected to each other. This is not surprising, as it is common for things that are not tangible to slip under, it's kind of attacking me. As it is common for things that are not tangible to slip under the radar. That being said, they're often a component of utmost importance. In his book, The Speed of Trust, Stephen M.R. Covey refers to trust as the one thing that, if developed and leveraged, has the potential to create unparalleled success and prosperity in every dimension of life. The one thing that changes everything, he says. Covey identifies two fundamental characteristics of how to build trust: credibility and behavior. And here is where the link to our parsha emerges. The first of the three themes, the three main themes in this Torah portion, is vows. וידבר משה ראשי המטות לבני ישראל לאמור, זה הדבר אשר ציווה אדוני. Moses spoke to the heads of the Israelite tribes, saying, this is what Adonai has commanded. If a householder makes a vow to Adonai or takes an oath imposing an obligation on himself, he shall not break his pledge. He must carry out all that has crossed his lips. Why does the parasha start off with the heads of the tribes? Well, because they are politicians. And politicians not always keep their words. Well, it's more challenging sometimes because they need to promise lots of things. So they are told, your words count. But of course, it doesn't end with the leaders, and we are all of us, reminded of the importance of not breaking our word. As we said, credibility is essential to building trust. The second theme is the war against the Midianites. Moses, can we lower the volume a little bit? I hear my reverb going, like the echo going up and up and up, and I think that if we lower the volume in the room, I think that even if I didn't have a microphone, I could be heard even better. Well, then we disconnect everybody who is connecting with us from home. Okay. Lower volume in the room. Can we do that? No. Okay. We'll try. So, the second thing we said, first thing we said, I'm losing you. First thing we say is, and it's coming from the idea of vows. The first theme in the Torah portion is vows. Don't break your word. The second theme is the war against the Midianites. Now, this is a very interesting thing because Moses goes into this war knowing that that war, the end of that war, is the end of his tenure. Once it's done, finita la comedia. He ends his position. It will take pretty much until the end of Deuteronomy. Don't worry about it. But still knowing that that will be the end of his tenure, he doesn't pass it on to the next generation and say, well, they deal with that at some point. He shows up. He's committed. He doesn't shy away. Now, finally, the third theme. is that before making it to the promised land, the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and half of the tribe of Manasseh recognized a land that would be great for the cattle they have, and they shared this excitement and sentiment with Moshe. And that caused a great deal of frustration. There are several layers to this frustration. Number one, wasn't it the entire purpose for all of them to get together into the promised land? Second, the land hasn't been conquered yet. So are they sending their siblings to a battle alone? And third, how will the news of 2.5 tribes quitting affect the rest of the tribes? After some conversation, the leaders of Gad, Reuben, and Manasseh say that they won't settle in the land, in that land that they wanted, until the promised land is fully conquered and all the other tribes are settled. And that brings some level of operational healing to the situation. And once again, in situation number 3, the underlying theme is credibility, reliability, and commitment. This time, the commitment to make it to the final line, to share the entire journey. Now, when talking about dreams and journeys, the topic of trust is not new to our tradition. As a matter of fact, Martin Buber explains that in the book of Genesis, when it is written, Be'Avram imin be'Adonai, and Abraham imin, I'll translate it in a second, which is often translated as Abraham believed in God, is not to be translated as believe, but rather as he trusted God, put his trust in God. Trust is a relational value, and it can be learned and built. It is symbolic that we read this Torah portion about trust toward the end of the book of Numbers, as we are approaching the entrance to the promised land, and while in the Jewish calendar we are in the 3 weeks between the 17th of the month of Tammuz and the 9th of the month of Av, in which we remember the destruction of Jerusalem and the subsequent exile. In that context, and here are the words of the psalmist become particularly powerful. Shir Malot b'shuv Adonai yeshivat Zion ha'inu kecholmin. When God returned the captives of Zion, we were like people in a dream. We were living the dream. How do we return? How do we build a dream? Truth is that powerful relationships, families, communal enterprises, and functional societies are built upon trust. Not only on being trusted, but also on the ability to trust others. Parashat Matot is a reminder that we cannot let trust slip under the radar. That if we want to become builders of our aspirations, we need to be true to our words we ought to show up and to commit to the end. Only then we will be able to translate our sometimes merely nostalgic dreams into tangible realities. As we said in the beginning, trust is the one thing that, if developed and leveraged, has the potential to create unparalleled success and prosperity in every dimension of life. The one thing that changes everything. And the good news is that that one thing is within our reach. As families, as communities, as individuals. May we be worthy of trust. And may we find within ourselves the generosity of a spirit to give trust to others. So then, we won't be like dreamers. We will be actually living the dream. I trust we can do it. Shabbat Shalom.